Hi everyone, it's Tasleem here. In my last video, I left you guys with the idea of the difference between wanting, I called it an experience, versus wanting a relationship. And I might have come across like I was shunning people that don't want a relationship, that only want an experience. But actually, I realized not that long afterwards that I probably come across like I only want an experience. How I figured this out is that in the last few days I heard the amazing relationship coach Matthew Hussey and his wife Audrey Hussey having a conversation about this, and they referred to it as connection, not experience. So they were saying that, well, Matthew Hussey in particular was saying that we have to be careful not to assume that just because we feel a connection towards someone, and even if they genuinely do feel a connection with us and we are connecting, that doesn't mean that we can assume that the other person is looking for a relationship. So if I'm thinking that I want a relationship and the person in front of me is connecting with me, I think for at least the beginning of my dating life, I was going to say dating career, but that doesn't make sense, but who knows. I was assuming that if someone is connecting with me and I could feel that they genuinely were, and that they were saying that they were, that I just, of course, they were looking for a relationship because that's what I was looking for. But actually, over time, I started looking for what Matthew Hussey calls a connection. I still look for that experience. I call it an experience, they call it a connection, because I love the idea of falling in love. I love the feeling of it. I love, like, even in the past couple months, I was connecting with someone who was writing me poetry through online dating, and it wasn't like he was just creating poems out of nothing. They were about me. So every time we would talk about something, he would just on the fly create something. And the greatest part was that it inspired me to do the same back. I have met people who have done this in the past, like not towards me, but I've seen like spoken word artists like go up and recite something, and someone in the audience will be able to on the fly respond with a poem or a spoken word piece right back. And I was always captivated by how they could do it. And so I started doing this with this guy, and I was so actually impressed with myself that I could come up with something in response to what he was saying, not just my own ideas. And I loved the experience. I loved the way that it made me feel. I loved the connection that I felt like we were building between us. And he even said, like, it's one thing to be inspired to write about someone because, you know, there's something there, but it's another thing when they can match that level and come up with something in response. And I have to say that the poems are they were very intense, and it was kind of hot. And I was infatuated by the connection, by the experience. And he had already planned to be coming to Vancouver, but he didn't live here. And so it was exciting at first because of the feeling and all that. But then I realized, like, he wasn't saying, hey, I would love to go out. I would love to, like, take you out for dinner if I come there and meet up. It was like, let's just meet up and continue this connection experience, this, like, hot, sizzling, like, crazy thing that we were creating. But I'm like, I want him to want to get to know me. Like, I want him to, I'm not going to just, like, get together with someone randomly like that. even though I do get excited about experiences, I do get excited about connections, but I've learned from the past that I don't want to put myself in like uncomfortable or dangerous or like even experiences that make me feel disrespected. And also, like, bottom line is he doesn't live here. If he came here and I was connecting with him, but we're not planning to go anywhere with it because we can't, then I'm saying, hey, yeah, I'm cool with just connecting, but and that means that I'm not actually committing to what I said I was, which is that I'm looking for someone who wants a relationship. But I realized I put out this vibe of wanting a connection. I put out the vibe of wanting the experience because it really thrills me, and it stands out to me compared to someone that I'm just like getting to know. And I've talked about this before. It feels a bit boring when someone's just asking me how I'm doing, and like it's slow going and the pace feels like unfamiliar and without that chemistry. But there can be a danger in only wanting the chemistry. So I've been getting really confused lately. I'm like, have I just been, is that why I'm only attracting, or I have been, I have to watch what I say because I don't want the universe to think that I think that this is going to go on forever. But I have only been, or majority of time, been attracting people that just want a connection, as Matthew Hussey calls it, or as I say, an experience, but not people that want a relationship. I'm not expecting them to want a relationship with me right off the bat, but I think there are some people that know that they're looking for a relationship and they want to see if me and them vibe, or if we don't, then they're looking for someone else, but they're definitely looking for a relationship. And there are other people that are only looking for the connection, only the experience, only the feeling. They're not interested in taking it further. And so, you know what I did? I deleted myself. I don't want to say deleted myself. I deleted my profile on online dating. And I'm not even saying it's because of the people on the other end. It's because I realized that I was contradicting what I was saying. Like, I want a relationship, but then I think I'm putting out the vibe that I'm really, really more interested in the experience. And I just deleted my profile because I needed to get back to myself to figure out what is it. Like, it's this connection craving thing. Like, it's like we crave connection. I think it's a very human thing to crave connection. And it makes me think of dance. Like, because when I was dancing a lot, especially partner dance, which is what I was doing the majority of the time, I didn't crave connection because I was getting it in a really fun, intense way out on the dance floor. And I don't mean, it doesn't need to be anything sexual or like even an interest, like a romantic interest with someone on the dance floor. We just get that craving satisfied when we are partner dancing. I mean, those of you out there who know what I like, who do it, who partner dance, you know what I mean. Like, sometimes we cannot help it when we go out and dance, and it's like this satisfaction that a lot of things can't bring in the same way. And even if we're not, going home with a partner or like a loved one, or like we're not in a relationship when we're doing that, I didn't feel the same like yearning for it, because the dancing and the connecting and the experience and the feeling gave me a lot of things that maybe we naturally do crave in human nature, like just that connection. And the other part of it is that like, do you ever notice that sometimes people, when they're in a relationship, they don't dance as much? They're not going out dancing as much. And then I've heard so many times, like, people ask me or other people when we come back to dancing, oh, where have you been? Like, I figured you probably went and got married and started a relationship. And they say that kind of to be funny, but actually, on the other hand, it kind of makes sense, because some of the connecting that happens on the dance floor, like, we could get that in a different way and way more and in a deeper way with a romantic partner. And a lot of times, even if you're in a partnership romantically with someone, it can be complicated when you're a dancer and dancing with other people, partner dancing, because it can be like, it can bring up feelings of jealousy for a partner. It can, you spend your time more like rotating, like in social dancing with other people, instead of spending that time physically connecting with your partner. And you have to be very careful that you and your partner talk about, like, what are you comfortable with, and how can we make sure that we're still connecting and we still give each other the respect that we want. But a lot of times, like, that connection that we get on the dance floor is all that people are craving in their connections with other people. So they don't even need a relationship. They can just go out dancing, and that's the connection that they're looking for. They're not looking for a relationship. And then someone like me comes along, and I'm not saying that I was looking for this in the dance scene, but just if I think that I'm looking for a relationship and I feel this connection with someone on the dance floor, we can trick ourselves. Like, I think it's a good analogy for how we can trick ourselves into thinking that, oh, this person must feel the same thing, because, like, look at all what I'm feeling, and how can they not feel the same thing? But they might feel the same connection for that 3-minute dance that you feel or that I feel. But that doesn't mean that they're saying, oh, what if, like, this could be something, like, maybe I should share my feelings with them or whatever. Like, they're not thinking that. They're like, I can't wait to do this again with the next person. Like, they don't care about the person in front of them. It's just that moment. It's just that experience. It's just that connection, that feeling for that time. And I love how Matthew Hussey really, really emphasized and brought, like, highlighted how we can have this tendency to assume that when we feel a connection with someone, that the other person, yeah, they might genuinely feel that connection, but that other person doesn't necessarily, it's not a connection that for them makes them think that I would want to continue this in something further with her or with him. It's more like, oh, I love that connection. I'm going to keep experiencing it with anybody. I just want the connection. I just want the feeling. And I realized, like, on online dating, not because of other people necessarily, but I think I was putting out the energy that I was putting out, a confusing energy. I was putting out this energy that I'm craving that connection and that excitement and that experience and that feeling, but I also want a relationship. And if you're only giving me the connection and the feeling, then I'm probably going to run away the other way, because I realize I'm going to build up something and then feel really disappointed that you don't feel the same way for me. And so I think, in conclusion, I realize it's totally okay and it's really good to want both. It's very possible and very like, it's okay, it's beautiful to want both, to want the chemistry, the connection, the feeling, the excitement, and to be in a partnership that is going to go somewhere. And I realized that I have to, like, there are people out there that have both. And somewhere along the line of my dating life, I started thinking that you can only have one or the other. Like, you can't have both. If you're having the excitement and the feeling and the connection and the poetry, like the crazy hot poetry, that it can't be anything else. Like, it can only either be that or a relationship. But that's not true. It can be both. And I need to look out for someone that is wanting both and is open to both. Again, it doesn't have to be with me right away, but just that they're not closed off to wanting a relationship. And so I think I'm just gonna commit to meeting people more in real life. I think it's easier for me to do in real life because I'm not that scared of approaching people and just seeing what they're like, and then they get to see what I'm really like. And it's easier for me to gauge whether there is like a connection or chemistry and the feeling, and then to also get to know them in real life, to see what it is that they're looking for. So I just wanted to share that with you. The connection cravings are good. They're healthy. They're great as long as we don't let them overtake what else we want. That maybe it's not just the connection we want. We want more than that. Not everyone does. You might not want, but I do. And I just want to make sure that I don't compromise on it, but I also don't compromise on the connection. I don't say, okay, well, I guess I have to do without the connection if I want something serious and long term and more adult and like more mature or whatever. No, I can have both. You can have both. I just wanted to share that with you. Thanks for listening.